Hello and welcome to Halftime on the Hudson. I'm Paige Krikorian.
And I'm Corey Grip.
Let's get started with hot takes. In the offseason, the Toronto Raptors pulled off one of the biggest trades, sending their star DeMar DeRozan to San Antonio for Kawhi Leonard. Leonard had been sidelined the majority of the season with a quad injury, but expressed his frustration with the organization after the season. This sent the whole sports world into a frenzy. Kawhi Leonard seemed to be the perfect fit in San Antonio. Hardworking, humble, successful. But he was done with the Spurs and demanded a trade. The Raptors clinched the #1 seed last season, but many felt that they were not strong enough to win the title. In the end, the critics were right, as the Raptors were bounced in the second round by the Cavs. The Raptors saw that the formula they were using just wasn't right. They had been competitive for a few consecutive years, but couldn't quite get over the hump and claim the East, especially with LeBron dominating the playoffs. After being named Coach of the Year, the Raptors parted ways with head coach Dwayne Casey and pulled the trigger on acquiring Leonard. When the trade first occurred, Leonard voiced his disappointment in his new city, which raised questions on the level of interest Leonard would have in playing for his new squad. Combined with his questionable health, trading for Kawhi was a major risk for the Raptors. And to top it all off, he only has 1 year left on his contract, so he might already have a foot out the door. But the biggest takeaway from the trade is that the Raptors got better. They upgraded their offense with arguably one of the best players in the league, when healthy. And with LeBron now in LA, the Raptors' biggest competition is Boston and Philly. With a healthy Kawhi teamed up with Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Serge Ibaka, and Jonas Valanciunas, the Raptors are a legit threat in the East. So while they might only have Kawhi for one season, they have the talent to make a deep run in the playoffs. And now that practice have begun, Leonard seems more open to the idea of playing in Toronto. So if they do well, who knows?
2nd and 26. The 3 words all Georgia football fans can't erase from their memories. I know I can personally. During last year's national championship game against Alabama, Georgia dominated the entire first half, 13-0, before Alabama backup quarterback Tua Tagovailoa entered the game and rallied Alabama to a 26-23 victory in overtime. There is an interesting parallel, however. On the trajectories of both Alabama and Georgia specifically revolving around their coaches. In head coach Nick Saban's first season at Alabama, they went 7-6 before going 12-2 in his second season and finally ending with a national championship victory over Texas in his third year. Coincidentally, Georgia started almost the exact same way under third-year head coach Kirby Smart. When Smart left Alabama for his alma mater, he brought with him the blueprint for how to build a winning program which revolved around a week-to-week mindset and respecting each opponent. Georgia went 8-5 in Smart's first season, followed by a 13-2 and national championship appearance in his second season. Georgia is already off to a 6-0 start this season, but there are more comparisons. In Saban's first year at Alabama, his team lost by an average of 6 points, while in Smart's first year, Georgia lost by an average of 10. In Saban's second season, Alabama won their 12 games by an average of 20.5 points, compared to Smart and his Bulldogs, who won their 13 games by an average of 23.9 points. On the recruiting trail in Saban's first 3 seasons, he finished with the 2nd, 3rd, and 17th ranked recruiting classes according to ESPN. While in Smart's first 3 seasons, he finished with the 1st, 3rd, and 7th ranked recruiting classes. To the present, Georgia has 2 stellar quarterbacks in Jake Fromm, who led them to the national championship game last year as a true freshman, and dual threat freshman sensation Justin Fields. Georgia has 5 players with over 100 rushing yards, led by junior running back Elijah Holyfield at over 360 yards, while Georgia also has 3 wide receivers with over 200 receiving yards on the season. Georgia is a top 10 scoring offense and rushing offense, while being tied for 5th in points allowed per game at 13, with an incredibly young but talented defense. Georgia will win this year because history will not be denied. And remember, when Alabama won the championship last year, that was coming off of a devastating loss to Clemson in the previous year's championship game. Alabama and Georgia are on a collision course, with the likely national champion being determined in the SEC championship game in early December.
The days of Jay Cutler under center in Chicago are long gone. After only winning 5 games last season, the Bears needed to shake things up. They had the #1 pick in Mitchell Trubisky starting at quarterback, but like most rookie quarterbacks, he still had struggles. The Bears brought in new head coach Matt Nagy, who is known for his offensive mind. He played collegiate ball at the University of Delaware as quarterback, so he knows the position and holds several records there. He then went on to spend 6 seasons in the AFL at quarterback. Before coming to the Windy City, Nagy spent 3 seasons as a quarterbacks coach for Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs. In 2016, he was promoted to offensive coordinator, but in 2017, his big break came. In Week 12, play-calling duties were assigned to Nagy, who led the Chiefs to 4-1, averaging 28.6 points per game. Now in Chicago, Nagy is already making an impact on the Bears' offense. He's teaching Trubinsky how to be the most effective player on the field. After 4 weeks, Trubinsky already has 8 touchdowns in 12 games. Last season, he only threw 7. He's also completing 70% of his passes, which has resulted in the Bears leading the NFC North at 3-1. But the Bears aren't just dangerous on offense with their new schemes. Their defense is the real headliner. Number 52 is the only thing you need to say about the Bears' defense. After holding out for a contract extension, the Oakland Raiders put star pass rusher Khalil Mack on the trade block. The Bears signed him to a mega 6-year, $141 million contract extension and drastically improved their defense. Mack has recorded 5.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. The addition of Mack has lifted this defense into a real contender. He is a monster off the edge and makes his presence known. This season, the Bears haven't given up more than 24 points. That's pretty dominant. It's still early and it's hard to count out Aaron Rodgers and the Packers or Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, but between Mitchell Trubisky leading the offense and Khalil Mack on defense, the Bears are going to be real competition for anyone they face.
Tomlin terminated? Outside of running back Le'Veon Bell's contract situation, head coach Mike Tomlin's job security is the next biggest question in the city of Pittsburgh. Rumblings about Tomlin's job have been ongoing over the last couple of seasons, and while Tomlin is arguably a top 5 head coach in the NFL, which no one is disputing, he has continually mismanaged his team and gives too much free rein to his players. Tomlin has never had a losing record in his 11 seasons and has never finished last in the division. He has led the Steelers to 6 AFC North Division titles, 8 playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and a Super Bowl victory. The Steelers have way too much talent to not be competing for more Super Bowls, and it seems to be because of a lack of focus. After defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 18-16 in the 2016 divisional round, star wide receiver Antonio Brown caught Mike Tomlin bashing the New England Patriots on Facebook Live, and the Steelers went on to lose 36-17 the very next Sunday. 2 days before a divisional playoff game last year against the Jacksonville Jaguars, safety Mike Mitchell was talking about preparing for the New England Patriots even before playing the game. And Bell, as always, was late to a walkthrough while also talking about his contract situation. The Steelers ended up losing that game 45-42, as Tomlin showed once again his lack of control. Let's also not forget that future Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger has indirectly called out Mike Tomlin about his questioning the physical practice throughout the season and the play calling in big games. There seems to be a lack of accountability from Tomlin to the players, and there seems to be a lack of respect between some of the Steelers and Tomlin as well. Tomlin should be telling his players to not be saying such controversial stuff to the media and focus on game prep, as teammates have ripped Bell in his contract situation, and Brown has continually had sideline tantrums. Once a coach loses the locker room, it is time for the team to move on. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1969, and while I love Coach Tomlin as a coach, the Steelers can't continue to waste the rest of Big Ben's career and must send a message to the team. Tomlin, it's time to say goodbye.
When we return, Corey and I will give you our thoughts on the upcoming NBA season. Stay tuned.
The 2018-19 NBA season is just around the corner, coming back next Tuesday with a doubleheader featuring the Philadelphia 76ers visiting my Boston Celtics and the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Paige, let's jump right into it. Everyone has been talking about LeBron basically all summer. Even last season we were talking about LeBron going to the Lakers before the season even started. So what are your thoughts and predictions for the Lakers with the King this year?
LeBron is the best player in the league, right? So going to a young team, I think he brings a lot of value, experience. Having LeBron play with Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, he only makes them better. They're going to be a stronger team in the second half, I believe. First half, they're going to be figuring things out, trying to get their feet wet, see how they play well. Second half, they're going to be really tough out.
My thing with the Lakers is I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. I understand he's the best player in the NBA. I don't even think that's disputable. The Lakers, I think they'll be a 5 or the 6 seed in the West. I think the West is just too good. LeBron could just not even try half the time in games in the East because they're playing teams like the Hawks and the Magic. Almost every team in the West is a lot better than they were last year. I think the young players will do well. Brandon Ingram and Kuzma are solid players, and the problem with the Lakers is they can't shoot. But if they can make their threes, they could be a top 4 seed. I definitely can see that. My thing is, I want to see how Luke Walton handles LeBron, and all the personalities. If Luke Walton can handle this, is either going to be a really good team or they could be a dumpster fire with all these strong personalities, the veterans and the young guys. It'll be interesting to see how they interact.
I think so, yeah. I see them making the playoffs for sure, like you said.
Oh, they're not missing the playoffs.
They're going to be in there because LeBron can just win games on his own. So he'll make them a good team. Maybe you disagree on LeBron's.
If LeBron misses the playoffs, like that will be like the biggest stain on his career. Like with this, even though like this team isn't the best team, like
he can carry them.
It's LeBron. Yeah. Like of course they're making the playoffs. Like what kind of question is that?
I'm with you. So let's move on to another star team, which is the Golden State Warriors. Could this be their last hurrah? Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant will be on the market this summer. Do we see them leaving? What do we see going on with
Klay is staying. Durant is gone. I will say this about Klay. He's a Golden State lifer. I don't think he's going anywhere, and he's never really said he wanted to leave. My thing with Durant is he's so flimsy. Like he's definitely leaving. I keep hearing the Knicks. The Knicks isn't happening. I think what's going to happen is the Warriors are going to win this year. Well, and that's what people think. And then he'll go to the Lakers, and then LeBron will never be able to pass him for rings. They'll be tied the rest of their careers unless LeBron goes elsewhere and wins again. So I think that's kind of funny that like Durant ties LeBron, and then he can't pass him. And in this era, Durant and LeBron are considered the 2 best players. So then Durant's in that conversation more.
Yeah. Okay. 1, don't hate on my Knicks, but 2, Klay, I'm with you. He doesn't leave. He's set. He likes being where he is. They'll pay him. They'll make it worth his while. But Kevin Durant, little different story. He could totally leave and like make his mark elsewhere. But I see him sticking around, maybe signing another short-term contract, winning a few more championships, still being good. But if they both do leave, like there are other good free agents on the market. Like Golden State could easily bring someone else in and be just as good. So I don't think Golden State's run is over. Maybe with these 2 players it's over, but like Golden State as a great team is not over.
Here, one quick final thought on this. I think if Durant leaves, which I think he will, the Warriors would be smart to keep Boogie Cousins. That's if he has a good year. I mean, he's going to come back from his torn Achilles in like probably January. So if he looks good and he plays well, I mean, he may get a max contract elsewhere. But if the Warriors win, why would Cousins want to leave that? All he's known his whole career is losing from being with the Pelicans and Sacramento. So I think they should consider re-signing Boogie.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So let's move on. I know like what team and player I'm going to look out for, but who do you have? Who's the team to look out for you, Paige?
I think right now Chicago Bulls are my team to look out for. They have a lot of good young players. They just brought back in Jabari Parker, who's established himself. They also drafted Wendell Carter Jr. this year from Duke, who has potential to be a really good rookie. Lauri Markkanen shows great potential as a big man. They also have Chris Dunn. I think the Bulls are going to pull it together, and in a weak East, they could come out and do some big things.
I was going to say Dallas, and I don't know why I was going to say Dallas, and I just thought of something like 5 seconds ago. Giannis. The Bucks, no one is talking about them. Everyone's talking about Philly, the Celtics, rightfully so, right? These teams are elite. Yeah. The Raptors, and then some people even throw in the Pacers and the Wizards. No one's talking about the Bucks. Giannis, from what I've seen on videos, he might have a jump shot now. And if Giannis has a jump shot, he's already almost unstoppable. He's about as unstoppable as LeBron. Like, this guy can get to the rim at will, excellent passer, can really push the break. I think he finally has an excellent coach. Mike Budenholzer, very underrated, did a lot of good things with Atlanta. I felt like he got cheated out of the job with Atlanta. They basically got rid of all their good players, and he was stuck with nothing. That's not his fault. He's learned from Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches ever. I think Budenholzer will really stress ball movement. They got Chris Middleton. They got Thon Maker. They have John Henson. They still have Jason Terry. I mean, they got some shooters out there, and I think Giannis will maximize everyone's skill sets really well.
Yeah, I think the Bulls sort of got the short end of the stick with all the Jabari Parker movement, all that stuff going on. Giannis is incredible, so he makes a team. He's unstoppable.
Yeah, they got a lot of young talent, so watch out for the Bucks.
All right, so some players going off of the teams. Anyone specific you're thinking of? You said the Mavs. You thinking anyone there?
Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I just love the way he plays. He really cares about basketball, and that's why I was a little upset with him. I thought him just screaming at his teammates, his coaches, the GM was a little unprofessional. But you got to understand like context. He doesn't want to be there. He's made it publicly clear he wants to leave, and they still have not traded him. For me, the Timberwolves are not going to get full value back for like a 5-6-time All-Star. I mean, this guy's a top 20 player in the league. You're not going to get full value back for him. So they should have just taken the best offer they got. Having said that, I think Jimmy Butler basically took the backups and beat the starters in a scrimmage, and then he just left the building.
Incredible.
That's a mic drop right there. I think Jimmy Butler is going to have a big-time season. If it's not in Minnesota, he's going to be an All-Star, no doubt. I would not be surprised if he's an All-Star starter, no matter where he is this year. That includes the West. Includes the West.
I like the Jimmy Butler pick. I think he's going to go off. We saw the practice video earlier today. He is going to have a great season. Someone else I've been thinking of is either someone on the Lakers, someone like a Josh Hart. He was the MVP Summer League MVP. Now with LeBron, like that makes him even better. LeBron can distribute to him. He can score. Someone else I'm thinking of that moved teams recently that could be a major advantage to him is Julius Randle. Went from the Lakers to the Pelicans. Now he's playing with Anthony Davis. You know, they have some other like good pieces there, but Anthony Davis is like a great MVP player.
He's a top 5 player in the league.
And having Randle there maybe allows him to be a better player. They both can do different things. I would look for Julius Randle. He's young. He's still developing. He can break out. And
I kind of like that, too, because I think with the Pelicans, they can go 3 big. I mean, they could play Mirotic at the 3.
And that's a good 3.
And he can stretch the floor. Randle has been working on his jump shot. Davis has been working on his jump shot. So I think the Pelicans are another team to watch out for just because of how good Anthony Davis is. Obviously, Holiday is an incredible point guard, but he doesn't get enough attention because he's in the West, and there's already like tons of great point guards in the West.
He is super underestimated.
But they will be very good this year.
I like both, yeah. So now moving on, the MVP, obviously, a lot of different options, but for me, I have to go LeBron. LeBron always gets overlooked because it's always, oh, LeBron, he's so good, of course.
It's because everyone expects him
He's just
to
like,
do
oh,
that.
LeBron. But like now, if he goes to LA with all these young guys, expectations are low. You're thinking maybe make the playoffs, but low seed, maybe right beyond the brink, right? But like if he really brings this team to the full potential, how could you not give him MVP?
All right, I'm going to say this about LeBron. This guy's the king for a reason. He probably will win MVP, but I got a guy that might give him a run for his money, and it really depends on how they finish out in the East. If they finish as a top 2 team in the East, he will win MVP. And my man, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. This guy, I know our hot take segment was before last break, but I think Giannis could average a triple-double. I really believe that. This guy is incredible. We know he's going to score over 25 points a game. This guy, if he wants to, can grab easily 10 rebounds a game, and he's a gifted passer. Like I said, it all depends on where the Bucks finish in the standings, but this team has got the weapons around him, a way better coach, and Giannis he finally can shoot, so now he's going to even be more dangerous as a weapon, and I think he will win multiple MVPs before his career is over. I'd like the Greek freak to take home MVP.
I think you make a good point with where they finish, right? If you're MVP, you either need to have an incredible season like Russell Westbrook averaging the triple-double last year, or your team needs to move really far in the playoffs. If the Bucks make it far in the playoffs and he has that great season, I'm with you. MVP could go to the Greek freak.
And he really did look good last year in the playoffs against the Celtics. It's just the Celtics were just the better team. But you can tell, like, this guy is an incredible athlete, incredible basketball player, and he continues to get bigger, stronger, faster. He's in for a great career. I mean, he's already had a great career, but I think MVP it's calling his name.
Yeah, at some point he will win. So you brought up the Celtics as the threat in the East. Going on to our championship prediction, I don't see anyone beating the Celtics for the East. My championship prediction is Warriors, defending champions, versus the Boston Celtics. The Warriors upgraded probably with Boogie Cousins. They have all their returning players back. They're defending champions, so that's probably a given. The Celtics were a surprise last year, right? Most people didn't think that they were going to get as far as they did. You bring back Gordon Hayward and Kyrie. I mean, that's a pretty good lineup there. It's hard to beat both.
Let's face reality. Brad Stevens is the second best coach in the NBA. I can't put him past Popovich.
Yeah.
Because Popovich has won 5 titles, right? And I keep hearing people like, oh, like the Celtics, they have all these guys. How is Brad Stevens going to figure it out? Who's going to play the minutes? Who's going to get the ball? Yeah. Listen, this guy will figure it out. There's a reason why he's as good as he is and why he's well respected around the league. They have plenty of offensive scoring options. Tatum, Brown continue to develop. I'm not going to focus on the next offseason because they're going to have a lot of free agents. But right now, they got a 10-deep roster. I think the Celtics, it's not going to be easy, right? I mean, the Sixers got better. I mean, Simmons and Embiid got better.
You have Kawhi on the Raptors
The
now.
Bucks.
That's a good thing. The Bucks.
It's not going to be easy.
The Pacers were surprised last year. Oladipo continues to get better. That could be another threat.
But I think the Warriors, I just think, are fatigued. Like, I think going to 5 straight titles for Steph, Clay, and Draymond, like, that's a lot. It takes a lot of energy out of you. I think the Celtics will finish with the best record in the NBA. They will get home court, and they will win in 7 games against the Warriors. Until someone beats the Warriors, I can't pick against them. People speculate, oh, well, what if Chris Paul didn't get hurt? Well, that's a big what if. I mean, we'll never know, right? This Warriors still might have won for all we know. But
yeah, I mean, bringing up the Rockets, like, they almost did win, but they lost some key players,
They got worse. They got worse.
They lost Trevor Ariza. I mean, they signed Carmelo, but
Carmelo is garbage. He's
Carmelo
washed up.
hasn't brought a championship to any team he's been on. He obviously adds shooting and he adds a veteran experience, but the Rockets lost people. The Warriors added people. I think the Warriors have the advantage there. I can't pick against the Warriors. They've established themselves, but I could easily see the Celtics beating them.
Just listen to this. They have 5 All-Stars in their starting lineup. Who else can say that in the NBA? I know the Celtics can't say that. I mean, that's just incredible. I mean, I know Twitter was going crazy when Boogie Cousins signed with them. So we'll have to see how it works out. When we come back, Emily Spennato will give her thoughts on the NHL season thus far.
Hello, everyone. My name's Emily Spennato. Hockey season is back and in full swing. The Bruins and the Flames kicked off their first preseason game on September 15th with Boston topping Calgary in a dramatic 4-3 shootout. NHL experts are already predicting the 2018-2019 division winners and even Stanley Cup matchups. But as the NHL taught us last season, things don't always go as planned. If anyone had any indication that the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Washington Capitals would be the last 2 teams standing, they didn't speak up about it. Speaking of the Capitals, the defending Stanley Cup champions swept the Bruins 7-0 in Boston in their regular season opener last week. Among the 20 players in their Game 5 championship win, 18 returned to the ice this season. There is hope for a repeat, despite major changes behind the bench. Their coach, Barry Trotz, went to the Islanders and was replaced with Todd Reirden. Vegas is looking to do anything to top its historic inaugural season. The Golden Knights will face the Philadelphia Flyers on October 13th. The Blackhawks fell to the Maple Leafs in Chicago's home opener. They endured an intense 7-6 battle. John Tavares scored his first hat trick for Toronto, shifting the energy in the Maple Leafs' favor into the third period. Morgan Riley scored 19 seconds into overtime to confirm the victory. Toronto's strong power play has them favored in the Eastern Conference. Their next matchup is against the Dallas Stars. Erik Karlsson made his debut with the San Jose Sharks against the Anaheim Ducks on October 3rd. San Jose ultimately fell to Anaheim 5-3. Karlsson is in the final season of his contract and he becomes a free agent on July 1st. Sidney Crosby will get one more Stanley Cup and the Ottawa Senators will start to win. These are among 2 of the fairy tale predictions made by NFL experts. But as we learned in the 2017-2018 season, anything is possible in this league. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Emily. Now on to our games of the week. With Georgia lacking a signature college football playoff victory, nothing will help their resume more than a victory in Death Valley over the Red Hot Tigers. While they did lose to Florida this past weekend, LSU has the 15th best scoring defense in the country, and quarterback grad transfer Joe Burrow leading the offense. LSU's toppled ranked opponents in Miami and Auburn on the road. Head coach Kirby Smart has had plenty of experience playing in Death Valley while at Alabama and will have no problem preparing his team for this game. This will easily be the most physical team Georgia's played all year, but with the offensive weapons Georgia has and the young defense continually getting better, it's just a victory. The X factor in this game will be the coaches. Both teams have similar talent on both sides of the ball, and it will come down to Smart versus head coach Ed Orgeron of the LSU Tigers and who adjusts the most. Georgia will find a way to sneak out a win in a very rowdy environment. Georgia wins 27-17.
After losing to the Jaguars and Lions back-to-back, people began to wonder what was going on in New England. But after destroying the Dolphins and Colts, the Patriots are back on track. Gronk has been putting in work all season, but with a trade for Josh Gordon and Julian Edelman back from suspension, Tom Brady has all the weapons he needs to lead his team to success again. Another team full of offensive weapons is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are now 5-0, and quarterback Patrick Mahomes has thrown over 1,500 yards, 14 TDs, and 2 more on the ground. All the signs are pointing towards the Chiefs being the AFC frontrunner. So the Patriots meeting the Chiefs now is just a preview of a potential AFC championship game. Sunday Night Football is going to be a good one.
I think we should talk about the Chiefs-Patriots game real quick. I mean, I just think it's Brady, so like they're going to win, right? Is that what's going to happen?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been putting up insane numbers, so like.
Oh, but it is Tom. It is Tom.
Chiefs defense is like a little weak.
So they did play well last week.
So Brady could exploit that. So we'll see. But that's all we have this week.
I'm Corey Grip.
I'm Paige Krikorian. We'll see you next time.